So welcome everyone to the first NeuroTechX Town Hall of 2020 and the first of what will be many to come. I'm very excited to be able to host everyone here today with the hopes of being able to run at least one town hall every year as an opportunity for us to connect, to share ideas, and of course to spend quality family time with one another. Thank you as well to everyone for their hard work, their time and their expertise, and of course their attendance for today. I know we were working hard collaboratively over the last little while, and it was so magical to see everything come together. I'm going to start with some brief goal setting for today. As mentioned, we are, number one, focusing on just some quality family time. It's nice to be able to see everyone's faces all together. And so again, I do thank you for your time. And that second goal is to increase awareness. And so, of course, we're all working within our initiatives. And one thing I would very much like to see is some cross-initiative awareness and collaboration, as we've already started to do. So I do believe that this would be a great mechanism for increasing awareness and ultimately collaboration shortly thereafter. And the third, of course, will be the acquiring of feedback, both in the open discussion as well as through the mechanism that will be shared afterward. So to anyone who's joining and not necessarily presenting, I would just encourage that you listen, that you learn, you take it all in and you think critically about the initiatives and what we're proposing. This is indeed a community. We all support one another, and it's through opportunities like this that we can really advance the field exponentially. So with this, I'm going to turn it over to Yannick to present the first section of the agenda, the history section.
And I can control the presentation. So I would like to echo Bryan's comment on the fact that I would like to thank you everyone for being here today. NeuroTechX is now 5 years old. So it's been a very exciting journey. I see some faces that have been with us since pretty much the beginning. So I really appreciate that. So why did we start NeuroTechX in the first place? So I think you will all agree with me that we live in an amazing time in history. Our relationship between brain and technology is unlocking different new exciting opportunities and potential, but it's not without consequences and ethical concern. So with NeuroTechX, we strive to facilitate and accelerate the development of neurotechnology with a bottom-up approach. I'm not going to go with the usual NeuroTechX spiel. I think that you all have heard that before, consumed the material and seen all the presentation and gave these presentation yourself. So I'm definitely more addressing you as volunteers and people involved in NeuroTechX. Just reminding a little bit why we're doing this in the first place, how we're doing it, and what exactly we're doing. So as you all know, what we do is that we bring neurotech enthusiasts and experts together to provide resources to create an inclusive and collaborative ecosystem, driving innovation at a local and international scale. So as you all know, the three main pillars of NeuroTechX are community, education, and innovation. So the thesis behind NeuroTechX is that if we bring people together, provide resources, then they can go on and have an impact on the field. So that's really what we're after. And the way that we're doing it is through several initiatives. So you're all part or involved in some initiative in one way or another. So in a nutshell, we nurture an online community of thousands of members. We organize physical and online events of various sizes. We provide educational resources, engage and provoke discussions with the public, experts, enthusiasts, curious people, the full spectrum. We keep people informed about the evolution of the field. We help industry and academia find the talent they are looking for, and so much more that we're doing. The remote control is a bit, okay. So when we're asked to describe NeuroTechX, and I think that most of you will agree that it's hard to describe in one sentence of what we're doing because there are so many initiatives in the NeuroTechX ecosystem. So first and foremost, it's a bottom-up organization where we seek, and as much as the director as all the support initiatives are there to support all the other initiatives that are part of the pillars. So the way that we broke down the organization, if we want to get the full picture, is that we put the three pillars in the middle: community, education, and innovation or professional development. We use both terms, I would say, alternatively. And within the community spectrum, we have the chapters initiative, the student clubs, the online community, mainly the Slack, and more recently we've started Discord just to see how it would look like to have both platform with Discord. It's been an ongoing discussion among the organization, Slack versus others, since the free version is bottlenecking the history of the awesome discussions we're having on Slack. But there's a lot of pros of using Slack versus other platforms. So we're trying on that side. Education-wise, we do have the EDU initiative, the book, the content laboratory. On the innovation side, we do have NeuroTechX services, the job board, and the databases that we're creating, basically mapping the ecosystem. So you'll hear about all these initiatives in the next minutes. In terms of the support, so across all of these initiatives that sometimes are operating a bit in silo, but then come back in the bigger picture, we do have the supports like social media, web, the web team, the newsletter, the hardware hub, the diversity committee, which is a new and exciting initiative, and the new squad people as well. So across the organization, we do have a lot of volunteers. As you can see, just on the call today, we do have quite a few people here, and we're not including all necessarily the full team of all the chapters, nor the student club on the call today. And the way the organization is structured with the director is really there to support and not to micromanage, but all the initiatives should have basically pretty much full authority on their own where they are going and how they are operating, as long as it's aligned in the role of the directors to make sure that the initiatives are aligned with the big picture and where NeuroTechX is going, and as well as the resource required to do so. So work in progress on trying to put a funnel as we to picture and see if an image is worth 1,000 words. We're trying to put kind of what is NeuroTechX in an image. We like to see the NeuroTechX funnel as people coming from different backgrounds, whether they are undergrads, grad students, professional, researchers, technical people, investors. NeuroTechX is really about the whole population, which should be part of the discussions of creating this neuro future. And then we funnel people within the different initiatives that we have through community, helping them connect, education, and then having innovation. And then they can go on and have an impact by joining a company, by starting one, by just inspired to do research and continue doing research, then getting involved in neurotechnology initiatives, tackle a challenge. So this is really, and this is work in progress. So the different pictures and things like that will evolve, but we're trying to show in a picture what NeuroTechX is about. And people will come, will leave. Some volunteers will stay for longer, and then they will go on, have an impact. 2 years later, they will come back. And NeuroTechX is this platform that will still be there in 10 years, 15 years. And when we'll look back, we're already starting to look back after 5 years and looking all the impact that we've had over the years and how many lives we've impacted and help people achieve their goals in their neurotech journey. So how do we measure success? Obviously, as an organization, we take metrics and numbers very seriously, where we want to see numbers and see how many people engages and how many people come at our events, how many people are coming back to our events, and kind of like seeing all the curves, all the growth exponentially, the Slack, things like that. This is amazing. But at the end of the day, what NeuroTechX is about feedback from people. How have we impacted people's life in their neurotech journey? So the real measure of success is all the feedback and all the messages that we're receiving from people that say, thanks to this event, I met X person, and then we started X venture. I met this person. I wanted to interact or meet or connect with that person for quite a while. I met that person at your event. Online, I got to connect with X and Y. I watched your webinar with X and Y, and it inspired me to go and do my PhD in X. All these feedback of the impact that we've had on people's life at all different levels. So whether you're an undergrad and we've helped you get a job, get an internship, develop some skills, whether you're a researcher and we've helped you transition to industry, whether you're an industry professional and we've helped you change job and get another position. It's really about the feedback of how we can impact and accelerate the entropy or the energy in the neurotech sphere. So that's really what we care about. We have a very inclusive and transparent approach where we want to be bring people on board and be very transparent, be inclusive, and this is why I'm super excited about the diversity committee as well that you'll hear from in a few minutes. So we've obviously some of the metrics, some of the numbers, one that people might not necessarily have been looking at, but I was quite excited to see that NeuroTechX, even in scientific papers, we're being talked about. So people are talking about us in different papers, in different contexts, whether they're citing for the impact we're having, either for the community, for the hackathons, for the projects, all that we're doing. But we're definitely starting to appear also in the scientific literature. So as a scientist myself, I'm obviously quite excited about seeing NeuroTechX mentioned in publications. So a bit more on some of the projects that today you'll hear about a lot in the initiative side of things, but not necessarily as much on some of the projects we've had, and some of them are being worked on recently and deserve a bit more visibility. So I'll just drop a few here that I've been excited to see them growth over either the past years or very recently. So EEG 101 was an awesome application developed on a mobile app. It's an interactive tutorial to help you see your brainwave in real time, developed by Dano and other people, with the collaboration of Interaxon. So that was very popular. We had, I think, over 15,000 download or something like that. I know at some point it was 10,000, so I kind of just figured that numbers have increased. The EEG notebooks that are now full throttle ahead, very exciting project as well. If you're into EEG and ERPs and things like that, please connect with John and other people on that project. The Mohab project as well, who's now back full throttle ahead as well, providing some benchmarking in the BCI world, more of a scientific project. The NeuroTech Challenge as well, in collaboration with the Temple University Hospital and Novella Neurotech, a company, where we did launch a challenge for epilepsy using basically deep learning AI for seizure detection on one of the largest openly accessible data set with EEG. And with OpenBCI, don't know why I put a space here, with OpenBCI challenge that is currently being worked on behind the scene that you'll definitely hear more about in the coming weeks. So obviously over the past 5 years, and when we decided to do this call at this specific moment, 5 years, I have many pictures, many memories, but I didn't want to spoil the 50th anniversary campaign, that we will release enough pictures, videos, and I'll have the opportunity to cry over and over again enough time. So I'll try to keep myself composed on the call and not get too emotional of these past 5 years. So I'm going to keep the throwbacks for another time. Just to look ahead before we move on to the initiative section. What we're looking for 2000, or promise, I would say, to our volunteers and all the initiatives on our side, our internal focus is really working on empowerment, cohesion, and transparency within the organization, where we want to provide more resources, more packages like the chapter guideline that you've probably seen if you're part of the chapter, but really providing a bit more of all the information so that you can go on and be proud of being involved in NeuroTechX with all the tools and the weapons of promoting the organization, understanding what we're doing, and being equipped with all the assets necessary, whether it's from a logo, a full documentation of our practices and things like that, but really equipped you with more stuff across the board. More training and sharing. More training and sharing of best practices and knowledge. So across the organization over the past 5 years, with all the chapters, all the initiatives, we're accumulating an immense amount of knowledge and best practices, and we need to get better at sharing that across the board. So Bryan and I, for the chapters, we've been talking about some training sessions and modules on event organization, community building, things like that, just to get better and share. At the end of the day, we're here as well to learn. And if you're involved in an initiative, the idea is that this initiative should advance you in your career, in your neurotech journey. So trying to help you acquire knowledge faster based on previous initiatives, mistakes, good things that we've done, to share that faster. The last one is transparent and shared OKRs. So the idea behind the OKRs is really to share what are our objectives as an organization. We want to be more transparent of, like, here's what we're trying to achieve this year. Here are all the goals across all the initiatives. Here are the numbers. Here's what we're trying to do, to really start working less in silo and more sharing all these goals in common as well, so that everybody gets the full picture at all the time and knowing where we're going and what are the different milestones that we want to hit along the way. So we'll be reaching out to all of you, all the initiatives to set the OKRs for the end of 2020, and then we'll repeat the activity on a 6-month basis. Not necessarily like super in industry. Normally you might want to do that quarterly and things like that. But obviously with a volunteer, we don't want to do it necessarily yearly, but probably 6 months is a good time window to set some objectives in a trackable and attainable fashion. So before I pass the mic over, what are OKRs? So objective key results. Basically, sorry if I just mentioned the acronym. Basically you set an objectives and the key results. The objectives is what's the big goal. We have the chapter as an example here. So improve chapter framework. So that was the big objective. And then you break it down in 3 key results that you can actually measure. So you can really say yes, no, or you have an exact number where you can see, am I at 75%, 80%, but a quantifiable, measurable results to attain. And once you have attained these 3 results, normally you can check your objective as being done. So I'll follow more one-on-one with all the different initiatives on that, but we'll be sharing this across the organization so that everybody can keep an eye on the whole NeuroTechX. So I want to remind everybody, and I think that yesterday Elon Musk's presentation was a good reminder as well, that neurotech is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We now live in a world where we want everything to go fast with all the Silicon Valley startup world, things like VR, where it was supposed to be the year of VR in 2014 or 15, and then 16, and then 17, and then 18. We want things to go fast, but sorry to be a party pooper. The brain is complicated. For most of you, you're in the field of neuroscience, neurotech. You know the complication. You know that it's going to take time. So we want to move fast on a micro level. So we want to move fast and break things and try things and iterate. But we need to keep in mind that the macro is a slow game. So what we like to do with NeuroTechX is really to inspire and educate, but with a pragmatic optimism. So we don't want to say it's really complicated, it's too slow, there's not enough progress, we don't want to kill, we want to be inspiring, we want to bring more people, we want to bring more resources into the field, but we also need to be somewhat honest with ourselves that we're not going to do telepathic communication within the next few years. So with that said, I'll hand over to Bryan.
Very much, Yannick. I'd like to hand it over to Abigail, who will be telling us all about the exciting diversity committee.
Great, thanks, Bryan. So my name is Abigail Holland, and Maria Moreno and I are organizing the diversity initiative for NeuroTechX. Many of the ideas that I will mention today came from weekly diversity discussions that were open to all NeuroTechX community members. We had about 30 total attendees who actively contributed to this initiative, although they are not pictured here. We are still in recruitment for the diversity initiative and expect to see many more people involved as we work to have every single voice heard. This initiative was started at the beginning of the summer as a result of open discussions around the BLM protests, which highlighted some unaddressed issues within our community that we wanted to change. Many of us participating in these conversations have been involved with NeuroTechX for a number of years and feel very loyal to this community and are proud to be a part of it. We do understand, however, that there are inherent issues and biases which must be actively managed in order to assure equity. NeuroTechX is a global community associated with many people within academia and the neurotech industry. It is important to recognize that this gives our organization influence over the fields which we must responsibly manage. Yannick and the other executives have been doing a fantastic job with this so far, but there is always room for improvement. Considering the differences and opportunities available to different people to learn about and to pursue neurotech as a field, it is extremely important to directly focus on decreasing these differences. Many of us have been fortunate enough to have exposure to neurotech education and resources, and it's very important to recognize that this is not something everyone can say. Throughout many open discussions this summer, we have had community members highlight common obstacles and challenges involved in joining this field, which we can actively improve. These challenges have included monetary difficulties with acquiring hardware, a lack of resources available in other languages, a high barrier to entry associated with highly technical jargon, and a lack of accessible or accommodating educational resources. These issues are fixable, and with effort and dedication, we can ease the stress of these challenges and more going forwards. We have summarized these focus areas as linguistic diversity, domain diversity, and demographic diversity. There are many, many pros to improving the diversity of our community, but I would like to specifically discuss the impact of diversity on the future of neurotech as a field. In all likelihood, members of NeuroTechX will be essential in designing, distributing, and regulating neurotech devices over the next 10 years. We need to ensure that we are encouraging diverse representation in these roles so that the produced products are a benefit to every user. We need to ensure that dedicated and enthusiastic people are working on this diversity initiative to improve NeuroTechX, helping it become welcoming within our internal teams and setting a standard for the industry. We need the cooperation and contributions of each individual initiative to make sure that we are elevating and appreciating members from all countries, languages, genders, abilities, and races. We need each member of our community to not only accept minority populations, but to understand the benefits that they bring and to actively participate in supporting and recruiting minority populations. I'm extremely excited to see the difference that we can make with this initiative. We are still looking for volunteers for our diversity committee and for the survey-based feedback consortium. So if you're interested in helping improve our community, you have suggestions, or you know of changes that you would like to see made, please do not hesitate to get in touch. I look forward to working with each initiative lead and the NeuroTechX executives, as well as members of our community, to make actionable change and to improve our community together.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Abigail and Maria, as well, working to lead that committee. I believe I am up next. Okay, great, thank you. So I'm going to talk to you today about the NeuroTechX Chapters Initiative, which I am thankful and fortunate enough to be leading presently. So who are we? Well, the NeuroTechX Chapter Initiative is a group of enthusiasts. We are all enthusiasts. We are all volunteers driven by the goal of impacting local and global communities positively through neurotechnology and both advancements and awareness. And so I'd like to take this time to just acknowledge the map that I include here today, although we can definitely see some areas where we could start chapters and grow local ecosystems and start to grow more globally. I would very much like to nod or to tip my hat towards those chapters that are already established and working very hard to create local value and global value within their communities of enthusiasts. It's pretty remarkable to me that we can see this spread. And I'm very happy to know that we'll be able to grow and simulate these ecosystems in the months and years to come. So that's a taste of kind of our growth and our presence across the world. And very happy to see everybody able to join us today, and some both old and new faces. I'm also going to provide a special shout out to the newest members of our NeuroTechX family. So we have Australia, although I don't think anybody is on the line today, as it's presently, I think, 3 a.m. or something in their local time. We have Berlin, who's joined us most recently, and Galicia, Spain as well. I saw them online, and make sure to stay tuned for an upcoming event of theirs. India is also available, and they have many events coming up, as well as one they just did, so stay tuned there. La Paz, Bolivia, I think I saw someone on the line. We have Malmo from Sweden, Moscow, who many of you may know from our BCI 101 event. I'm happy to say we also have a Scotland presence available, as well as one of our, I think, most recent chapters, Salt Lake City, Utah. And finally, certainly last but not least, our Zurich presence. So just a huge shout out to say welcome to the NeuroTechX family. You can see that you're amongst a strong community of friends, and we're here to support each and every one of you. Now, of course, our efforts here would not be what they are without support from a number of community members, the chapter lead as acknowledged, but also our newly established Connectome committee. So I am the Connectome manager overseeing the Global Chapters Initiative. And then I think many of you probably already know Mohit Patil, who's the Connectome coordinator. And we're welcoming Jean as well to our team. So thank you very much for joining today, and I look forward to working with all of you. Finally, we are going to be recruiting for 2 Connectomes to oversee a subset of the chapters. So please do keep your eyes out for any open call for applications and to chat more about how your interests may align with these opportunities. I think we've had a few people submitting requests already, so you can reach out to me at bryan@neurotechx.com and we can chat further. Now, the big thing, what do we do? Well, we are part of the community pillar. So our goal is to broaden and deepen neurotechnology ecosystems globally and locally. And of course, our activities span across a number of our pillars. We aim to deliver content to the diverse communities of neurotech enthusiasts that exist around the world. So I'd like to just acknowledge a few of these images here. And I'll also echo Yannick's sentiments and say that I definitely had a few tears in my eyes when I was flipping through these photos and searching for the ones to choose. And there are many more. So if you'd like to walk down memory lane, please reach out. So quickly, I think many of you were familiar and able to join BCI 101. Shout out to Matt Fay, the Moscow team, including Ilya and Slava, and Sophie and Ben and the London team for coming together and organizing what was a stellar global series earlier this year. Likewise, another shout out to Slava and the similar team for organizing Neurotech Gaming, which happened in mid-July. Again, I think many were able to join and benefit from that experience. It was truly remarkable to see everyone come together this year in light of course, what was a shifting, I guess, experience with the global pandemic. Finally, I'd like to also nod towards some of the really cool cross-chapter projects that are happening right now. There's talk about creating kind of hack hubs around the world where you may be able to get open spaces and devices for people to work on. So stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in supporting that locally, let me know. Finally, we also have a number of local events and projects as well. Yannick certainly mentioned many of the projects that we have on the go, so I'd like to just highlight a few of our local events. We recently had an event from Berlin, one of the new meetup groups, as you can see in the top right area of the slide. We also have many events already from NeuroTechX India, so we have one tomorrow morning, actually. For me, it's 7 a.m. Eastern time, and they had one recently, and they're going to be organizing a big webinar for the end of September, so keep that in mind. And I'm also going to take some time to do a nice little throwback shout out here to some of the events listed here. So we had Neurotech TO organized a fantastic opportunity with the Ontario Brain Institute and INCF, you can see in the quadrant here. And also nod to Neurotech Montreal and their entrepreneurship series. And then of course, you know, the world-renowned Neurotech San Francisco and Neurotech Paris Hack Nights that are occurring weekly, Mondays and Thursdays. Please join them. It's a very welcoming experience and no doubt you will be going back. And finally, I'd like to just highlight that, of course, we have a track record here. We've run a number of events, and we're working toward being able to take the experiences that we've been able to learn from and ultimately provide that information or feed it forward to some of the newer chapters or those looking to do something similar. So just as a roster of events that we've done before, and you can consider for your local communities, we've done larger scale partner events, we've done regular local chapter events, things like lectures, workshops, been hackathons. Of course, we have regular hack nights, both in person and now very, very digital, considering the pandemic, and then collaborative events with our beloved student clubs as well. So certainly food for thought if you're looking to organize your next event. Finally, I'd like to touch on the fact that our chapters initiative integrates well with the newsletter, of course, with services, who will be speaking momentarily, as well as social media, the EDU initiative, the newly minted content lab, and of course the diversity committee. So we're truly thankful to be working with all of you. And just look at this. This is an incredible slide. Okay, so finally, where are we going? Well, we're kind of 2 years into a 5-year roadmap. Oh. There we are. So 2020, we are going to be working on a 5-year anniversary update. You will hear more about that from Catalina momentarily. We're also working hard to create opportunities and resources for acquiring sponsorship. So if you have any opportunities at all, or if you're looking to secure hardware, software from some of the companies around the world, please reach out to us. We're working to create these relationships, and so we'd very much like to be able to help support you as you negotiate those opportunities. And we have many things available to make it easy as possible for you. Finally, as Yannick mentioned previously, we're working on creating training modules or training opportunities for everyone, as well as turnkey style events, so things that you can get off the ground very quickly. One that I'll mention is our flagship Buzz and Review event that Mohit will talk to momentarily. 2021, we are going to be working on solidifying some new frameworks. So as much as we are a bottom-up initiative and we have local city chapters, we also recognize that there's a need for some overarching structure within countries and within continents. And so we're going to be trialing out some different models. We're also, again, going to be continually pushing hard to secure regular sponsorship for all of your hard work and support for all of your hard work. And finally, we're targeting South America and East Asia as opportunities for us to really grow strong communities within NeuroTechX and beyond. So this is all towards our 2022 goal of a year of sustained momentum, where we'd like to start January 1st and run through really relying on the processes that we've developed, test those processes, and ensure that we have continued activity or momentum across all of our wonderful chapters. So I'll leave you with that. I'm going to turn it over to Mohit shortly to talk briefly about our Buzz in Review, but I would just like to take time to highlight that Neurotech Galicia has an event on September 8th. Do check out their meetup for that event. We also have a webinar, as I mentioned, from India tomorrow. It should be on their meetup event. And then we have another one from India at the end of September. And finally, we will be launching our Buzz in Review in October. If I did miss any events, it's just because it's not on my immediate radar. So please do let me know if it's coming, and we'll make sure to get the word out so you can get all of those people attending your wonderful programming. Thank you. So Mohit, just want to take a minute to talk about Buzz in Review.
Thanks, Bryan. So I'm Mohit. I work as Connecto Coordinator with Bryan on Chapters Initiative. So in 2020, we carried out for the first time Buzz in Review event series across 8 chapters. The idea was to have one event that can be carried out across each NeuroTechX chapter in a very short period of time to create a buzz around NeuroTechX and neurotechnology in the local communities. So we presented a review of number of things, noteworthy events from the last year, updates on neurotech industry, latest news, startup funding, academic highlights. And this way we could cater to each category of the audience attending the event and provide them an amazing networking opportunity. We received tremendous enthusiastic feedback from the audience, and it also reflected in the Slack and newsletter live signups. So after this year's Buzz in Review, our collaboration with many companies who were local sponsor and involved with BR in one way or other has deepened into new professional relationships. So this year, we are aiming to increase local companies' interaction component in the event structure. This is an also opportunity for new chapters to set the tone for an active year ahead in their local community and also to grow the new community. We are aiming to have 15+ chapters this year involved. And we'll be, as Bryan mentioned, we'll be launching the BIR in October with a launch call, and I'll get to with more details around that. Thank you. Back to you, Bryan.
Great. Thank you very much, Mohit. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adam Sefler of NeuroTechX Services.
Thank you, Bryan. Yeah, you can go to the next slide, but I'll let you keep control over this. So who are we? Myself, co-founder and president of NeuroTechX Services. Yannick, I think people know you well, but I did put your picture there. I don't know if you want to say a word.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Radhika? Hi. And Jose, which I think just told me he has connection problems. Jose, if you're here, I'll leave a few seconds for you to say hi, but you should, Jose should connect back. So as you can see, 4 people here. So Radhika's helping us with, business development, making sure we grow our partners and our initiatives. Jose is the person behind the job board. Every time we see opportunities, he's the master person, making sure that the job board is populated and that we get opportunities for everyone. But what's important to point out here is that there are 4 people, but NeuroTechX Services is based on the whole community. So we have over 15,000 people, and the whole logic behind NeuroTechX Services, and the reason why it was created in the first place, is to connect the community. So, leads and volunteers, like people on this call, but literally everyone that come in through NeuroTechX, learn with us, do projects, and then want more. They want a career, they want projects, they want to make a living out of what they've learned and what they're passionate about. And we want to connect all these people and all this talent to the other side, which is startups, corporates, VCs, but also research institutions. So the rationale behind NeuroTechX Services is really encompassing everything in NeuroTechX, because the more people learn and do things in the community, thanks to all the initiatives that will be presented today, the more they'll want to stay in the field and grow in the field. And NeuroTechX Services is there for that, to really make sure that we connect the dots between what's available and the talent in the industry. So Bryan, I'll let you go to the next slide. So what do? We have 3 things that we do. I would say one is recruiting services. So first of all, the job board. If you haven't been yet, you should. We have hundreds of positions there on an international scale, both academia and industry. Yes, we are the biggest job board in neurotechnology. And the idea here is really that anyone can go and find opportunities. Right now, you need to come back and look for what's interesting, but spoiler alert, down the road, our objective is to enhance and create our user profile so people can automatically be connected to jobs. So that's a work in progress, but you know, I'm selling the punch here. We want to make it easier and easier for everyone to know what's happening in the market. You can also share jobs or research positions. So if you see something interesting related to neurotech, you can contact us, as mentioned at the bottom of the page, at jobs@neurotechx.com. Our friend Jose will look and filter all of this and make sure that it's posted on the job board. Now, for our partners, we have visibility packages. So if you know a company, or again, an institution that wants to promote a job, you can give us the posting and they can go on the job board, but you might want to tell them that they can get a visibility package or headhunting services. So visibility means that we'll talk about it on our social media, on our newsletter, but that it can also be featured on top of the job board. As for headhunting services, the idea is really, again, to make that matchmaking as customized and tailored and efficient as possible. So to connect the top candidates for a given job to the different companies and entities that are looking for people. So how do we know who knows what and how do we connect the dots? Well, first of all, we encourage everyone on this call and everyone in the community, and we'll have more shout outs about that, to send resumes, LinkedIn profile, ResearchGate profiles, anything that can help us know you're looking for an opportunity and that you're qualified essentially for different opportunities. Send us an email again at jobs@neurotechx.com. And what's interesting too, when there are headhunting service opportunities and they're identified on our job board, there's a referral bounty next to them. Anyone in the community that doesn't feel like they're necessarily a good fit for the job, but that they know someone that might be, you can refer us a candidate and actually get a commission. So we really try to reward people in the community for getting involved, telling us who actually could be interested or be a good fit for a position. And same logic for bringing us a lead. I'll give an example and I'll put you on the spot. I'm not sure if you're on the call, Alex, but Alex in Boston had developed a relationship with one of the companies close in the Boston area. She brought forward the opportunity. We contacted the company together, and not only, did she, get a referral fee from that, but she's now helping and, collaborating in the recruiting efforts. So if you're interested either in, giving us leads and telling us who's looking, there's an opportunity for you to be rewarded for that. But if you're also just interested in helping and actually collaborating in recruiting efforts, please once again contact us at jobs@neurotechx.com. There are a lot of opportunities for everyone. So that would be for recruiting. Next page, Bryan. I said we have 3 types of services. It's really 2, but I like to split the consulting in 2. The first part of consulting, and I think if everyone's looking at the screen, no one should be surprised, is everything that our community is good at. So designing experimental studies, everything around data acquisition, literature review, everything on the scientific and research side, but also on the technical and engineering side. Obviously, being in neurotech, we have both aspects that we're very strong at and that many people can fill those gaps. We do it all, I would say. We can do proof of concept. We can literally develop a project from end to end. There's really no limit. And the idea, if you talk to people, around you, whether startups or companies, and they're wondering, they might need help, please refer them to us. And sometimes what we've also had happen is someone says, I'm a consultant on my own, but there's a project that was talked about. I'm not sure I can do it all. Can I get help? The answer is yes. You can bring it to us and we can create something together. So once again, this is really about making sure that everyone in the community gets great opportunities and collaborates with us on projects. And to be honest, it's a virtuous cycle, because if people in the community are engaged and talk about, connect us to different players in the industry, which you already obviously have some connections to, but if you expand that with us and we can collaborate, everyone wins. That's really kind of the logic behind NeuroTechX services. The second page So that's something which you might not be aware that we do. And maybe I'll talk a little bit about, my background or Radhika's background. I'm an ex-McKinsey consultant, so I did strategy, operational consulting, both in Canada and the US. I was also a finance professional. I worked in the investment world. I also did corporate finance, restructuring. So I come with that background. And Radhika, I don't know if you want to introduce your background a bit.
Hi, so I've worked in investments quite a bit for the last 5 years or so. So I've worked across organizations across the world, interviewing and collecting information on large companies and interviewing CEOs one-on-one to get information on how to manage a business correctly and how to manage an investment.
And you worked in marketing before that, but beyond the two of us, we're just two examples, but I wanted to make sure that, the community is aware that our profiles also exist as part of NeuroTechX and NeuroTechX services. We also have other people that are interested in contributing. So if anything around, again, startups or even VCs are looking for help for, market research, business plans, fundraising, everything for finance and strategy, we cover it too. So the one-stop shop that we are is really encompassing every aspect of neurotech. And the last page, Bryan, please, is also complementary. We have a lot of that in-house, but we also have quite a few partners. And that's really kind of to seal the whole, again, 360 perspective. Legal and regulatory, what do we do? When do I start engaging with the FDA? What's my IP strategy? Also roles and responsibility, obviously connecting with our recruiting platform. Is my structure proper? If I do fundraise, who do I need to add to my team? What is the optimal way of approaching that? And also partner identification. We have this community of ours. We know a lot of people. So, who should be connected to who, not just investors, but in general. So again, consulting, recruiting for both of them, the idea is that it could be academia, it could be industry, it could be whatever level. We've been contacted 2 days ago to help a company actually find a CEO. So it's really not just, it could be a technical role, but it could really go up to the top of the ladder. It's anything in a company that we can help with, essentially. That's really what you need to remember from this. So just to finish on the last page, so where do we want to go? Where do we want to head? We don't feel really that there's a limit to that. So Bryan, maybe for the next slide. So number one source of opportunities for the community. So that's number one. That's, again, the rationale, the reason why we started this was for that, to make sure that the community could find opportunities. Overall, while the number one neurotech talent provider, we know what the skills are for a job, what's required. And we, again, the community, have all the talent needed. So we want to be the first talent provider. And consulting group too. The different discussions we're having with different groups, we're approached by different types of entities for different collaborations. There's no reason why we wouldn't continue to grow and offer any type of consulting and really grow in that field. So thank you all for that. And once again, we can only be as successful as people in the community will be engaged. So there was the email we provided, the jobs@neurotechx.com. Please send us emails after this. Any questions you may have, any opportunities you want to bring to us. And then obviously we'll contact you and have a more thorough and specific discussion on a need basis. Thank you.
Great, excellent. Thank you so much, Adam. I'll pass it on to, myself actually, as I will be presenting, hopefully seamlessly, a video from Amatulla. She could not be here today. So,
hi everyone, I'm so glad to meet all of you and know so much about all the wonderful initiatives of NeuroTechX. My name is Amatulla Lockhandwala, and I will be representing the NeuroTechX student clubs. And together, Yannick and I, we both lead the NeuroTechX Student Clubs Initiative Committee. The purpose of this committee is to organize editions of NeuroTechX competition, encourage and support the creation of new student clubs, and support the existing clubs. These student clubs exist all over the world. There are over 20 clubs in just Canada and America. We also have clubs in Russia, Bolivia, and Israel. NeuroTechX student clubs have made history organizing the first of undergrad student competitions on neurotechnologies. The number of clubs participating in this initiative has more than tripled since 2017. The Student Clubs Initiative Committee provides resources to students for starting their own club at their own university. NTX also has a repository of educational content for new student clubs to begin their journey and become master neuroengineers. Several clubs have participated in the annual NeuroTechX Student Clubs competition, winning many prizes, meeting many other clubs, and seeing the diversity in projects done by other teams in other universities. The annual Student Clubs online competition consists of two challenges, the Fixed and the Open Challenge. The Open Challenge aims at increasing the overall creativity of neurotech students. All projects related to neurotechnologies are allowed. The Fixed Challenge aims at increasing the general knowledge of neurotech students by challenging them to build a fully homemade acquisition pipeline for EEG signals, including the following 5 stages: acquisition, signal processing, data transmission, real-time visualization, and data recording. Student clubs spend months preparing for this competition. The process involves making an interdisciplinary team, developing project ideas with thorough research and a lot of hardware and software innovation. Our goals in this initiative are to provide a more wholesome experience for undergraduate student clubs to innovate in the field of neurotechnology, foster a supportive environment and platform for collaboration with excellent feedback from experts in the field with regards to the developments of and research of the clubs, and make neurotechnology one of the fastest developing fields in the world, accessible to any undergraduate student, no matter where they are in the world. The Student Clubs Initiative believes that neurotechnology is key to better understanding and improving who we are. We aim to inspire a whole new generation of neuroengineers who will be equipped to drive the field forward. Join us in supporting students exploring innovative neurotech-related projects. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Okay, and with that, I am going to hand it over to you, Yannick, to talk briefly about the EDU initiative.
Yep, so you can switch to the next slide. So as you can see with first the student club, the chapters, all the initiatives we're doing, education is at the center of it all, providing resources. Obviously, we're well known for EEG BCI because that was really the core of what NeuroTechX started upon. But we're definitely expanding and we want to be more 360 degrees around the whole field, from more invasive, from more neuromod as well, and really be 360 degrees. But obviously our background and also especially with student clubs and some initiatives, EEG are just a very fantastic entry door into the world of neurotech by being more accessible. There's more data, so it's easy to get started. But we're definitely trying to diversify a bit more in the coming months and years. So in terms of educational material, if we go back in 2016, we started a educational platform called NeuroTech EDU. The idea was, let's try to aggregate some of the educational resources, fast track a little bit. A few years later, we've started creating different projects. As you can see on the right, some of them that I mentioned before, EEG notebook that has been used a lot across different people, different use cases, the EEG 101, our NeuroTech EDU awesome list of BCI related resources that was created and very popular. I think it's a bit deprecated now, not as maintained as it used to be back in the days, but if you can see just by the number of like 500 stars on GitHub, we're definitely not doing too bad for something that we're not promoting and really showcasing anymore. A bit of revamping needs to be done on that side, but that was a very, very popular list, very useful list of BCI resources that people are using. The EDU platform, the idea was, let's try to aggregate and build curriculum around what you need to know in the field of neurotech, from the science, the more technical fashion, and then expand upon that basis, really, because we do have a lot of people coming. So we're in the community through events and things like that. We do have a good sense of what people are looking for, what is missing in the field as well, because it's not always about reinventing and recreating the same content that exists elsewhere, but really, why are people asking the same questions over and over again? Then something is missing. Clearly, Google is not answering that question. So how can we put together a curriculum that does that? So I think that we've been doing really, really good in terms of providing sparse resources that are now a bit fragmented and all over the place. And EDU is a great platform, but for the content, but the experience is something that we feel was really missing. So if you go on EDU, for example, you have curriculums, you do have a bit of the content, and it was really kind of like built upon EDU 1.0 that we called an MVP. Let's try to build something and then listen to the feedback and reassess and rebuild something a bit later once we know exactly what is missing and how it should be built. So if you want to go to the next slide, Bryan. We're moving towards EDU 2.0, which is more of a full LMS platform based on Open edX, but really aggregating also all the different resources to really have different personas and different profiles depending on what you're looking for. Our student club, as you saw earlier on, are a rich pool of people looking for more information, more tutorials, more workshops. The student clubs themselves have created a ton of workshops and a ton of educational material for their own onboarding. So what we're currently working is also trying to aggregate and build the best experience as well in terms of what's the perfect onboarding for a student club, for example, by pulling and putting all together from different the student club workshops and material. So a quick question that appeared on the chat about the LMS. So it's a learning, management system. I got a blank for a minute here. So basically, if you go on edX, Coursera, all these platforms where really you do have kind of like you have your user account and you have a journey through a course, you enroll into a course, you know that it's either ongoing or it starts at a specific point in time for 13 weeks. So you can either kind of go through and binge it, or you can just week by week as they release the content. So there are different tiers of courses, from smaller ones to bigger ones, certifications, no certifications. So this is definitely in the way that we're going at. We'll have some more introductory courses with like 1 hour, 3 hours, up to a full certification in neurotech. So we're working on that. So currently we've done some of the mock-ups and are about to install the platform. In terms of the two first MVPs that will be starting are the Intro to Neurotech module and the BCI 101, mainly for student clubs. So that the end goal will really be targeting student clubs. So Bryan, you can switch to the next page. So currently we're in transition from EDU 1.0 towards EDU 2.0 with that new vision. We're rebuilding the team. So if you know people that would be interested or take education resources at heart, definitely invite them to join myself, Morgan, Diego, John, and other people involved in the NeuroTech EDU initiative. Obviously, at this point, wouldn't be here without the contribution of so many contributors over the past 5 years that have been writing lines of codes, been working on different interfaces, building workshops, building presentations, sharing the content, sharing material. Obviously, we sit on all that material that makes it more easy to move forward and look ahead for what's coming. So more news coming soon on the EDU 2.0, definitely an exciting initiative. So I'll pass it over to the next initiative.
Thank you, Yannick. I'm going to ask that Han Cat Nguyen unmute.
Hi, everyone. I'm Han, and unfortunately today Florencia cannot join the meeting. That's why I'm gonna represent the team instead and tell you about the NeuroTechX newsletter. So we are a team full of passionate people who work on the newsletter. So Florencia is the editor. Yannick, Adam, Bryan, and Amatulla are the content creators. I, Morgan, Hussein are the reviewers. And also Mohit, Rohit, and Adam, and also some of us are part of the news web. So we look for the news content of the newsletter. Next slide, please. So through the newsletter, we share the neurotech news and information to the community. We also highlight sponsor content and NeuroTechX events. We also share the insights of NeuroTechX chapters and student clubs. So we have switched to having 2 newsletters every month now, but the process is still very similar to how we did with the monthly newsletter. So first, the news web, just look for all neurotechnology news and submit the content. And also the content creators add more like NeuroTechX events, job posts, and any other interesting or important information to the newsletter. And then the editor put everything together into a draft of the newsletter. Then that draft is reviewed by the reviewers and then also reviewed by everyone in the team. And once the newsletter is approved, we release it through email, Slack, Discord, and social media. So in the future, we hope that we can translate this newsletter into a news website so that it's like a just digital newspaper. So it's easier for all readers to look for past and most updated news. So thanks, Sam, for helping with this. And we hope to create our own content, which will be handled by the NeuroTechX Content Laboratory. And we're working with Adam on this. And we hope to further involve the community by having a section in the newsletter or the news website that the readers can share their own stories, and we will also ask chapters and student clubs to submit their own experiences. Yeah, the detailed plan of this will be further discussed in the future.
Hand it over to Luke to talk about the book.
Hi everyone, my name is Lukas Shannon. I'm a project lead on the book initiative, and I've also been running the Hack Nights for Montreal. In light of the time, I'm just going to try and rush through this presentation a little bit. Yeah, so the book, for many of you, this will be your introduction to it. It's been a major community effort. So I just want to give you a quick look at what we've been doing. Swidney Swain-Simon is leading this project, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And this lovely presentation was made by Jen Wang, who is also responsible for the graphics and marketing things you'll see later. So who is this book for? So this book will be a nonfiction book for beginners to the field that will provide a comprehensive background knowledge and also practical resources for anybody who wants to get started in the field. It's an introductory guide that'll provide an overview on neurotechnology, like neuroimaging, neurostimulation devices, what kind of applications they can be used for, and it will also touch on things like ethics, prospective emerging devices, market drivers, and try and map as much of the industry as we can, the ecosystem. An online ebook version is going to be published on the NeuroTechX website, and it's going to be free. And we're also going to have a printed copy that will be, all the proceeds will go to NeuroTechX. The readership that we hope to reach with this are beginners to the field. So people who have a basic understanding of scientific concepts, but would kind of like to explore more neurotechnology. So this is perfect for people who, in our community, you know, we have a wide range of expertise. Some people are stronger on the technical side. Some people are stronger on the industry side. Some people are just passionate hobbyists. And so this will be a good book to get everybody up to up to speed, essentially, on the basics of neurotechnology. Yep, so this is just a basic overview of what the book will contain. In terms of neuroimaging, we've got EEG, MEG, fMRI, PET, NIRS, and ECOG. And for stimulation, we have TES, TMS, DBS, and FUS. We also cover some hybrid systems. In terms of devices and initiatives, down in the last section, FUS is covered. Yeah. So in terms of market drivers, devices, and manufacturers and initiatives, this is a potential area for contribution. We would like to assemble a large catalog of devices and software packages that are available on the market to introduce readers to some of the popular options that are available. So do let me know. PET and fMRI are covered, yeah. Yeah, so this is a basic overview of our timeline. So the team has been working on this since 2018. From then on, there's been a lot of brainstorming and learning about all the many different aspects of publishing, doing outreach to recruit qualified volunteer authors. And we expect probably a fall 2020 publication of our first edition. So we're very excited to release that soon for you. Currently, we are in the late editing stage for most chapters, and we have the wonderful problem of most of our chapters being a little bit too long for our target length for a printed book. So we're considering possibly releasing full uncut versions on the website, maybe through NeuroTech EDU, and having the shorter, more compact book available as well. There is another potential area for contribution right now. If any of you have experience in book publishing and marketing and would like to get involved, please do reach out to me on Slack. This is some examples of the graphics and marketing that Jen has produced. We made this to release leading up to the publication of the book because we want to reach out to as many people on social media as possible, especially those people who are maybe just on the periphery or even outside of our immediate network with NeuroTechX. So we hope to reach a large audience that way. And just to wrap up, this project has only been made possible by the contributions of a very long list of people with more accolades than we have time to go over, although I did make a list. So I'd just like to thank all the people on this list really quickly, without whom none of this would have been possible. So thank you.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Zarna next to talk a bit about the website.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I am Zarna, and I represent the NeuroTechX website team. So who we are, the team includes myself, Ty, Romain, Sam, and Yannick, and together we are taking care of the NeuroTechX main website. And what do? We are basically, this is what we do right now and what we aim to do in the future as well. We would like to collaborate with all the chapters and initiatives to make the website a home and the go-to resource for everybody. We would like to build the website and build further on the website to make the modules and the features available right now to be more scalable and more adaptive to the needs and cater to everybody's needs and whatever content they would like to display to their target audience. Currently, we are working on improving the website's performance by improving the load time of the website. I'm sure most of us are kind of struggling with the performance of the website right now because of the slow load time, etc. But that's what we are working on right now. We are planning to declutter the website, get rid of plugins, and get rid of pages that actually are non-functional at the moment. The other thing we would like to work on with the chapter initiatives is to work on and promote their current events and the upcoming events and the past events, highlight all the amazingness that the chapters have achieved. In the next phase, we would also like to work on building individual landing pages for every chapters and all the initiatives that the website can have, and to promote and add pertinent information about the events and everything that NeuroTechX wants to achieve. While we do that, we would also like to keep in mind the GDPR and accessibility guidelines so that the website is available and functional for everybody across the board. So yes, if you've ever had a dream that I want my website to have this thing, please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to me on Slack with your amazing idea, and we will make sure that we can work on it together. So thank you, everyone.
Taha, you are up next and you have control. You should have control.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see.
Oh,
you know what? It's okay. You can advance the slides whenever possible. So, yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Taha Morshedzadeh. I'm working along with this amazing team on the databases for neurotech academia and neurotech industry. Could we go? So, talking about the databases, there is two databases, as you saw in the previous slide, one for the industry and one for the academia. So one of the problems, sweet problems that we have in the neurotech world currently is that the field is growing with exponential speeds, and there are so many labs and companies that are doing neurotech all over the world. And there is no reference for the lists of all labs and companies that are doing neurotech and can get connected potentially, which is one of the functions of NeuroTechX, to connect people together. So what we're trying to do right now is maintaining the front end and so the back end and then the front end of this database to first add all the companies and labs in neurotech together on a database, on Airtable. And then make connections based on the subjects that they are researching, the methods that they are using. For example, this group is working on cognitive neuroscience and is using EEG, for example. You know, and talking about all of this, we can make connections between people in the future. This is one of the next phases that we're gonna go after, using APIs and tools that are provided by the major, you know, literature databases such as Scopus or Semantic Scholar, stuff like that, to see what people are doing and how they change across time, and also which people are working together, also what companies these people are working with. You know, you add that, you know, company, city, states in the literature. If we can extract that and, you know, make some connections between the industry and the academia, it would be very beneficial. Could you go to the next slide, please? So I am leading the academia database initiative, and the team is amazing. It looks like an impossible goal to add all the labs of neurotech in the world into one place. And I was scared for sure when I started this working with this team. And you know, I can tell you that right now we have nearly all the neurotech labs in Canada in one database. So with the amazing work of the team, it seems that it is in fact possible. Now we are moving to USA and then moving to Europe. You know, we're gonna just systematically scan the whole world for this. And with this, I would like to hand it to Guillaume, who is leading the industry. And that will be the next slide. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Taha. So I'm representing the industry database group with Karthik and Bill. And essentially, similarly to the industry, to the academic database, we're also trying to map what may be a smaller universe compared to academia, but nevertheless very effervescent. Trying also to map both the technologies that are used and the applications, as well as a whole bunch of information that we think might come in handy beyond, you know, the basics like the websites and where they are. It could be just in terms of the resource person from a human resources perspective, but eventually it could be even funding, it could be all sorts of other things. And we're currently working on both teams working together to harmonize also the keywords or the tags that we use, so that both of these databases could work together and essentially live as one. And maybe next slide, please. Right, so without going into too much detail, realizing of course that we're over, as Taha was mentioning, there's a lot of information and not much existing out there in terms of a compendium. There's lots of things that we want to do, and one of the first things, of course, is to make sure that any kinds of users and use cases are satisfied. So we're working on developing a variety of personas for the kinds of people, the kinds of users that might be looking for information. A lot of it focuses on professional development, whether that's, you know, getting a job, getting an internship, looking for potential labs or opportunities. But there's also lots of other things that we've been thinking about, and it could be, you know, the reverse. So looking at who has been hiring, what are their salaries that are being offered, right? And that might be a tie-in with diversity inclusion committees, you know, to make sure that both for interns that are not being taken advantage of, that everybody gets offered a suitable remuneration. It could be for industry or any organization that's wanting to do some landscape analysis or competitor analysis. It could be even the same for investors, or potentially useful as a resource also for each of the chapters, that they could both help populate and identify some gaps for the existing organizations that are not represented, or maybe even for us as a community to further outreach where we feel like there's some gaps. It could be even in terms of, again, accessibility and inclusion. Maybe in the future we want to think about translations of these keywords to increase accessibility. And then there's also the bridge, a potential bridge with consulting, as somebody has also mentioned in the chat, whereby maybe these databases are going to be useful not just for free services or free information, but maybe as part of package for information and research that's developed beyond that could be offered as a fee. And that covers what we have now and what we're going for.
Excellent. Thank you both. I will kindly ask that Ben step up to the plate to present the Hardware Hub.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Hey, everyone. My name is Ben. I'm from the Vancouver chapter. I'm working with Visa right now to launch the Hardware Hub. So without ado, why don't we jump right into it? Controller, next slide, please. So essentially, right now, a major problem in the BCI world is the inability to centralize and find the effective BCI hardware. There's just so many new devices coming up, so many different manufacturers. So we thought, why don't we bring them all to one place where it's a simple home, a one-stop shop, so to speak, to house all of our BCIs. And we want to step further and partner with almost every, or maybe not all of them yet, but we aim to partner with every BCI product to bring unprecedented levels of discounts and exclusive deals for our community. So I'm just going to post in the chat a quick link for you guys to access if you're keen. Controller, next slide, please. So essentially, the NeuroTechX Hardware Hub is going to be exclusive to our NeuroTechX members only. This is quite important because we're going to be given access to levels of discounts that suppliers may not feel comfortable making available to the public. So we want to respect that by creating a password protected entry. And in order to get the password, you have to create an account at neurotechx.com, and you can visit it through your profile. So I encourage you guys to let people know that they have to create a NeuroTechX membership account. It's a good way to centralize growth and traffic to the parent homepage, so to speak. Okay, controller, next slide, please. So above and beyond the traditional sort of BCI website, we decided to add in some filtering tools because everyone's got a specific use case, whether they're a consumer, whether they're a researcher, and depending on the level of sophistication and quality of data that you need and the type of data, you know, we decided why not add in some simple, easy to use filtering tools that a modern e-commerce experience offers. So you can select your device based on how many channels it's got, whether it's got less than 10 or more than 10. Sampling rate, the modality, whether it's light-based or EEG-based. We won't be doing anything super fancy above and beyond that for now. And also talks about the different types of electrodes, whether it's wet or dry. So feel free to peruse this and yeah, check out the discounts that we have so far. So the next slide, please. Thank you, controller. So essentially, all of these products are fully automated and linked up such that the user experience is just virtually digitized. So the user clicks on buy at NeuroTechX member price, we get directed directly to the manufacturer's public website, and then they either enter a discount code or the affiliate link is sort of tracked and bypassed immediately. So it's just a cool, simple, quick way to get the best prices only for our community. Next slide, please. So currently, we're about to launch, and in order to ensure that we have really successful adoption, we're going to need a couple of things. One is really a small team of dedicated people who are just really keen about promoting the Hardware Hub. Maybe we could spread a message to your chapters, A big ongoing requirement that we're going to need is to be able to keep up to date on all the product information, all the new products that are coming out. So if anyone's really keen on staying up to date with new tech and new technologies, feel free to reach out and maybe we can integrate that passion, so to speak, into our hardware hub. Okay, just before I move on to the next slide, let me look through my notes. Yeah, if you guys know any BCI devices that are coming out, that are cool, that we want to host, it doesn't necessarily have to be EEGs. It could be light-based. You could track your heart. It could be, anything neurotech, any new devices. There's a lot of new devices coming out. So please feel free to reach out at benjamin@neurotechx.com. And yes, that is what we have on the plate so far.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ben. Great to hear from you as always. I'm excited to see the progress on this. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Adam, who's going to talk about the newly minted NeuroTechX Content Laboratory.
Hey everyone, pleasure to meet you. So the NeuroTechX Content Lab was basically birthed from the ideals of the organization, that professional development / innovation education community. And we're seeing so many people create their own content and having it share ad hoc or informally throughout our Slack network, that we figure that if we start with a blog initiative to help create, curate organic NeuroTechX content, it'll actually service all the pillars that we have. So if we progress to the next slide. Right now, the team is Florencia, who unfortunately wasn't able to make it today, Sophie, who I'm sure a lot of you already know, and myself. We've been meeting every week for several months now, putting together the framework and process along with insights from Yannick and Bryan and Adam to get all of this going. And recently we put out an ask. Essentially, it's a survey to see who would be interested in joining our team, which is one of the big asks I have to all of the community organizers here, that right now we have 20 people interested in joining our team, and that spans writing to project management to actual design. So the more people that we can get, the wider and more diverse areas of content that we can put together and publish. If we go to the next slide, what that looks like, or I guess the reason why we're doing this is what I was just speaking to, that servicing these different pillars and helping us get more from our community in various ways. And then on the next slide, just in terms of what next steps look like, we're in the first process, which we're putting together the engine to get this going, which looks like low friction experimentation to use already created content and very few pieces of new content that will begin to roll out through the newsletter, through the social media networks. And then based on the reception of that, we'll then go into phase 2, which looks like scaled content generation on a continuous scale, where maybe we're putting out 2 to 3 or however many pieces of content per month. And hopefully we can see this grow with the team. And as more people get interested, we can add more different types of topics that we're able to cover. And I think it's just a nice opportunity to give a personal voice and authority to this really awesome organization.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks to everybody for your patience, as well as your work to organize these incredible initiatives.
I'll leave it up to Bryan to give the last words of the meeting. But first, I wanted to thank everybody. We wanted to really show the depth and breadth of NeuroTechX. Most of you probably have learned a lot today. Very few people was necessarily involved and aware of all the initiatives that were happening. And this is definitely our main objective in the end of 2020 and 2021, to really make it a better synergy across all the initiatives so that we can work as one big family. We're all headed in the same direction. And as you can see, there is a big synergy across initiatives, from the database feeding helping the chapter with relationship with partners, finding people, and then the hardware hub with different companies, the content. So there's a lot of synergy, and we'll try to optimize that in 2020 and 2021 and the future. But none of that would be possible with all the hard work of the people that are involved in NeuroTechX. So thanks again. Sometimes I'm the spokesperson. I'm seeing, and we see my face on NeuroTechX, but it's really it's been quite an exciting journey for the past 5 years. to see all the people putting effort, sweat, time into making NeuroTechX what it is today. And I hope that all of you is also taking from the organization, not just giving, but also taking an exchange, and that we're making your career and impact in neurotech a bit better, faster, and more improved. So as usual, if you have any feedback, feel free as a volunteer, just NeuroTechX optimization improvement. I've had many calls with many of you, with many people in the community. You know that I'm always one call away, and I'm always happy to talk with any one of you about the organization, the field, and how we can be better and have a greater impact. So thanks again for everyone for coming today, and I'll let Bryan wrap the call.
Thank you, everyone. I'll leave it there. Have a wonderful day, morning, night, evening, afternoon.